All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This is J.S. Moore with Mysteries of the Unknown. And today, we're going to read some tarot cards. We're going to use the Fantastic Myths and Legends deck. This is created by Yanka Latekova, Donato Prayoga, Picora, Stefano and Luna. And I think that's it. Goodness gracious. See if I missed anybody. No. And Magdalena Almaro Nochia. Alright. This card deck was created for Kickstarter. We used the 5 different artists. It's been out for about a month. We just got guidebooks in, so we're fulfilling orders. And a little bit of feng shui here. I did that. And it looks like that this is actually going to be about a little spectrum of everything. So if you don't know how feng shui works, some of it has to do with wealth management, some of it has to do with your physical well-being, some of it has to do with a certain body part. There's a bunch of neat things if you've never studied feng shui and the bagua. It's important. It's an interesting study if you're interested in mystics, esoteric, and Chinese thought. So I feel like that with our political climate the way it is here in the United States, I'm going to lay out 4 cards. This is going to have to do this is going to have to do with our present leadership and our future leadership. And I'm going to pull one more card. It's going to be January 20th. Now this is today. This is November the 10th. And November the 10th, here we are. We're 1 week out of an election. And a winner has been declared. That would be Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. But they have not taken power yet. And the current president refuses to concede. He says he has won the popular vote and the will of the people, and he refuses to say that Joe Biden won. Although I think Biden won by 5 million votes. And all right. Okay. This is going to indicate that right now there's a little bit of naivety or I don't want to say ignorance, but that's what I'm seeing here. The Hathor, the Egyptian princess, is heavy with child. This is kind of interesting here, given that, we're in a lame duck presidency right now until January the 20th. I want to read Trump specifically, since he refuses to concede and say that Biden won. This is Trump. The Fool. Okay. The Fool card indicates someone is oblivious. You see that the satyr, or Pan, is walking off of a cliff's edge, although the dog is trying to pull him back and warn him. And the satyr is actually just playing his shepherd's pipe. He's oblivious. He's like a child walking off a building as his parents are not watching him. So maybe the dog is the Republican Party, but actually, they've not really. I think there's only 4 senators that have said that yes, Biden has won, and all the other ones are refusing to say that it was a legitimate election. So they're defying the will of the people, which isn't surprising, unfortunately. The Roman Republic fell because there were 2 parties. There was a 2-party system: the proletariat, which represented the poor and the working class, and then the Republic, which were the elite, the rich, the merchants. But here we have the Fool. This is Trump. And going forward, after today since the election. This is Trump here. Here we have the star. So our fool has great expectations. He thinks that everything is going to go his way. You see that she is pouring water out on the ground and on the earth. It's a standard card for the star. But our fool has high hopes that things are going to turn out in their favor. All right. And the result of our fool, we're going to go to January 20th in a minute, but the result of our fool, here he is walking off a cliff, but he thinks that everything's going to be all right. He's reaching for the stars, hoping for the best, and really just kind of naive. Overall, naive. Okay. This is what happens to our fool. The Tower. Okay. This indicates a catastrophic change, a shift overall. Now you may see this as the snake protecting the tower, and the snake is also a symbol of healing. But how I read these cards is empathically, not intuitively, but I'm an empath, and I feel that the standard meaning of the card is just exactly what we see here. We have the Fool. We have naivety, being ignorant of something, hoping for the best, crumbling. And Trump may not realize it, but he's bringing the country down with him, unfortunately. This leaves us vulnerable to our enemies. If I'm not mistaken, Russia, North Korea, and some other leaders out there that are really tyrants or dictators, they said they're going to wait as well until the election is decided or that Trump concedes. This makes us very vulnerable. I remember in the 1980s there was a wonderful movie called Red Dawn, and they remade it with Chris Hemsworth a few years ago. And at any rate, our country was vulnerable and another power took over. This is feeding right into Putin's hands, unfortunately. So January 20th, this is what we're looking at. All right, we're building. We're building back. And you have the overseer here watching everything being erected. The Three of Coins indicates success. It indicates getting back where we need to be. We have a goal, and the ultimate goal is to finish what we've started. So November the 3rd, we have an election. The votes are counted. We have a fool in the White House that's hoping for the best. Tower's coming down on January 20th. Let's pull one more card. This is 2021. The Empress. It's great. So this could also show that there's a motherly influence as it relates to what we've been dealing with here. I see that perhaps our vice president is just as much a leader as our vice president-elect, is just as much a leader as our president-elect Biden. I think that they'll both have a lot of responsibility in building our country back. But I like the number 6 for this. It's today's November the 10th, 2020. It's 7:45 p.m. This is what we see. Lots to think about there, lots to be mindful of. And we're just going to shuffle these back up. If you all have any questions when I read or anything like that, I have to have, I think, 1,000 subscribers. We've had the channel approximately a week. I'm not advertising or anything like that. But at any rate, if you know anybody that might like this sort of thing, let them know. But once I have 1,000 subscribers, I can go live. I can do live readings. And I don't charge for readings. I know a lot of people do. The truth is there's a guise against it, or a prohibition against it, at least in Brehon law, the Irish seneschals and learned mystics of the day. There's a prohibition against it. they didn't really barter, but they would accept gifts, things like that. And they were it was a respected office, so they were brought in to the hearth and given a meal. Oftentimes they would be bards or storytellers, things like that. They were kind of equivalent to that. But in Brehon law, the seneschals were not able to say, this is what I charge for a reading or anything like that. And you see that happen a lot nowadays. I don't want to disparage other people that read or anything like that, but I myself have a prohibition against charging for a reading. What I do is I lay out the card, and I usually have a question I would ask when the card comes up, but it's different to be able to look at a person, look at them in the eyes when the card is revealed, and play off of their features, things like that, because an empath, you feel the energy and you know what to say. So virtually, I'm very new to this, but I will eventually be reading people on here, but I need to get up to 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully that happens. At any rate, I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. I normally like to do a suggested reading for anybody that would like to have, like something that they might want to read that they might not have thought of. I've always been into mythology. I like history. I like parallel myths and things like that. I had a wonderful teacher named Mark Holland when I was at ETSU, and he got me really interested in mythology. Of course, I was already interested in it, but he really put me on my way. But this book is by J.F. Bierlein, and it's called Parallel Myths. It's a great read. There's a lot of things there you wouldn't have considered or known about, because he covers not just your Greek mythology, not just your Celtic mythology, but lesser-known mythology from around the world. The Anunnaki, I think, are in there a little bit. Native American mythology. African mythology is really fascinating. Of course, a lot of it wasn't written down until the past couple of hundred years. And then Arabic and Hindi mythology is quite interesting as well. Of course, people don't realize that Arabic mythology goes back to the Egyptians, and that's some of the most fascinating stories that you'll find. And they were preserved through like papyrus and hieroglyphs on the burial chambers and different things of the day. But this book by J.F. Bierlein, Parallel Myths, I think it's still in circulation. If not, it sold a lot of copies. You can get them at a used bookstore. They can order them on Amazon. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in, and until next time, may the old gods and the new bless and guide you.